Now, our tip of the week today is adding wood framing to building structure. So let's go ahead and look at that. And with this, what we're doing is we're actually creating that wood structure. And we can do that either by modeling the wood frame structure. So the way that we would do that is by using beam and column tools. Pretty straightforward, all manual process. You're basically just going in, defining your columns, whether they're wood or steel construction. You're going into the model and you're modeling each one of those different assemblies to do that and defining that. This works just fine. It is more labor intensive, obviously. But again, if you don't have a big project, you're doing a small residential modeling project, works perfectly fine. And we've got a lot of clients who do it this way. So and it does give you the most flexibility because it allows you to just really go in and very easily model these. You can use commands to multiply, so it's really not manually drawing every stick. You're actually going in and using various commands to help make that a little bit easier. But you're not using things like an Archicad, like a wizard, if you will, that will help you do that, which I'll talk about in a second in more detail. Now, if you do want to use, let's call it a wizard, you can actually go and download the accessories framing add-on, which contains some goodies to help you do things like wall framing. So to download the this add-on, you're going to go to the downloads page, which at Graphsoft is graphsoft.com/resources and support/download. Once you get to that page, you simply click the add-ons tab and then click find out more. That'll take you to another page where you select which country you're from, which will then take you to an installation page, which you'll then download either the Mac Apple Silicon version, the Mac Intel-based version, or the Windows version. And then once you've got that, you download it, double-click the installer, and that installs it on your Mac or Windows system. Once it's installed, it's really critical that you load the accessories library pack. Now, I want to also point out for anybody who's done this in the past, you're not loading the library folder. I did make this mistake myself when I originally did this when Archicad 28 came out. And that is that starting with Archicad 28, we have a library pack. So we no longer load a folder. You need to load the library pack. And so when you download that accessories library, it will automatically, or this accessories add-on, it'll automatically load the accessories library into your Archicad 28 folder. So simply go to your Archicad 28 folder, or let's just say first you open the library manager, and then you click the button to load the library, and then you navigate to the accessories library pack, and then load it from there. Once you've done that, it will then enable you to be able to start framing your walls. Now, is this particular framing add-on the best to do this? No, there's others out on the market that will do it as well. Some similar, some better. ArchiFrame is probably the best in the market for this particular type of workflow, but it costs pretty much equivalent of what Archicad costs. So it's a pretty significant investment, and best actually if you're doing something where you have manufacturing and that kind of thing going on. Though we do have a few architects using this as well for design build, but it just really depends on what you're trying to do. In this case, if you are doing it with just the basic Archicad add-on, what you're going to do is to first go and find all the walls that you want to apply this wall framing to. And so it may not be every wall in the project. Like if you've got interior walls, you may want to turn those off if you just want to do the exterior walls, for example. Or if you want to do specific type of walls within your project, different wall types, then you can open up the Find and Select option from the Edit menu. And then once this comes up, you can then go and add in that you want to find a wall, and you want to find a wall that is a composite of wall, wood, 5.5 inch sheathing with chipboard. And chipboard and siding, whatever it is that your type of wall that you define and need to find. Once you have those walls selected, you're then going to go into the options menu, go down to design extras. Actually, I think it's design menu. Go down to design extras, and then go down to accessories. You'll see in the accessories there But we have roof accessories, slab accessories, wall accessories, and polyline accessories. If you select the wall accessories, it will then open up this dialog that says choose wall accessory object. Now, if you do not see these options here, meaning battered wall, canted wall, moldings and panels, and wall framing, it means that you have not loaded that library pack I just talked about. So then you'll have to get out of this, go back to your file menu, go to your library manager, and load that accessories library pack. So make sure that's loaded. Once it's loaded, this will work just fine. Once you've done that, then you select the wall framing option there, and then you'll see in the bottom right of that, there's a wall framing settings. That's where you're going to define for each of the different settings: general settings, connection settings, fire stop settings, and the 2D representation. So if we look at like general settings, for example, then we can actually define things like what is the stud size? So go to the top edge or the bottom edge. What's the header size? The distance of stud centers, and other options within here as well. We can also go to connection settings. Do we want to add a new connection setting? Do we want to delete a connection setting? What is our default connection type that we want to use? So it just defaults to one. We have to do this every time. Do we want fire stop settings for this as well for the openings? Do we want to have 2D line representation with this as well? If we do, we click the option that says show framing elevation on plan. And then we might also define, do we want to show studs under the windows? Do we want to have a contour pin, a fill pin, background pin, etc.? So you go in here, you kind of define how you want that to be done. If you click the option to show the framing elevation on plan, then you can, once you've done this, you click OK, it will then allow you to actually place, I should say allow, it will then place all of the framing on the plan, as you can kind of see here, to the bottom left, bottom right. And then it will place it on a layer so you can turn those off if you're not using them as well. And if you want to, you can click on the floor plan to place the wall framing, and then you view it in 3D. So if you simply go and to the floor plan and select the wall framing and say show that in 3D, it'll only show that in 3D. And you can also create a view for that. So in the future, it only shows that as well. But this is what it does. It goes and creates the framing for you automatically. And that is our tip of the week today. So let's